Hey guys, today we're going to be painting Minerva McGonagall from the Wizarding Duels game by Night Models. This model is based on the actress Maggie Smith, who has passed away this week. Today is the end of September 2024, and unfortunately the actress who modeled this model has passed away. So what better time than to paint her in honor of her performance in the Harry Potter movies. Here I have spray painted this amazing model of McGonagall with a bright grey. I think you can use basically any color. I decided to go for a light primer. I didn't use any zenithal highlighting for this one, but you can do so if you want to. I'm going to be using some solid colors to cover it up, so I didn't think there was any point of doing it for this one. And I started with a mix of Incubi Darkness with Corvus Black to create a near black bluish taint for the underrobes. So you have a slight portion of sleeves showing here and the inner robes. As for the rest of the model, it's mainly green. And I also did the hat with this same color. Take your time because some of the details on these models are very, very small. And I try only to touch the parts that needs to be painted. I mean, you can clean up afterwards, but why bother if you can avoid it, right? So let's speed this up. You can see me painting the inner robes here. There's a little bit of color around the neck, the robes below, and as I mentioned before, the hat. Next step is pure Incubi Darkness. And I used it to highlight the raised areas. So the rim of the hat, the tip of the hat, the chest, top of the sleeves, and the raised areas of the inner cloak. Next, I highlighted the Incubi Darkness with Celestra Grey, which is also a bluish grey, so that combines very nicely with this color we already have. And I decided to do the rim of the hat, just the very edge of the hat, and some of the extremely raised areas of the previously painted parts. And that's it for the inner robes. The cloak, I decided to give a base coat of Caliban Green. A bit out of focus here, sorry guys. I'm trying out a new camera. So this is the main part of the model, Caliban Green. Make sure to get a nice coverage. If you feel like it's a bit of see-through, then go over it again. Better to go over it twice in a very slightly thinned down part of the paint than to cover it all up with a very thick part and lose some details. Afterwards, before continuing on the robe, I used some Dawnstone on the how do you call that? The band around the head. And I highlighted the very edges of this. You can choose if you're brave enough. I highlighted it with some white scar combined with the Dawnstone to create a very light gray edge. These are tiny, tiny details. But if you manage to pull it off, it looks amazing. So next I decided to shade the large area of the cloak with Bealtan Green mixed with some Malm Oil to darken it down and to really approach the base color, as I just want to create some light shading and not the heavy black or green that these two individual shades are. And the result you see here looks very, very nice. You get a dark green, fluently combined color with the previous Caliban green. And after this, I decided to reuse the Caliban green to paint over again the main areas of the cloak. So leave the recesses, leave the shaded parts where they are, and just touch the very the flat areas, the main areas that catch the most light. And leave the shades alone. You get a very nice result immediately. Next, I decided to take it up another step by adding some warpstone glow to the Caliban green to create my first highlight. Again, bit out of focus here, sorry guys, but you get the idea with highlighting. It's just the edges, just the sticky out parts, the parts where the light would normally hit the clothing. And after that, I used warpstone glow in its pure form to make some extreme highlights. So just the very edges, just the tips of the cloak. And the buildup of the colors is great. There's a natural flow in these greens and I'm loving it. Be very careful on the thin edges on front and make sure to use your brush sideways if possible. I decided to go for a last step to add some palette witch flesh to the warpstone glow to make an extreme highlight. But just on 2 or 3 tips, make some very fine lines. Just to kick it up a notch. Next, I decided to go for the face. I used palette witch flesh to paint in the eyes first. I often find that this is easier because if you have to do it afterwards, you mess up the skin if you're not careful, and usually I'm not careful. I used some Abaddon black to paint in the pupils, and here you still have the luxury of making a mistake. If you make a mistake, just go over it again. Afterwards, I did the skin, the hands and the face with Bugman's Glow as a base color. And I used a kind of traditional build-up in layers. So next I used some Cadian Flesh Tone for the first highlights. Leave those recessed areas where they are. Do not touch them again, but cover a large area with Cadian Flesh Tone. Let this dry and cover it all up with some Reichland Flesh Shades. And I used a thinned down version of this. Thin it down about 50-50 with some Lamia Medium or water if you're liking this, and then go over it again with Cadian Flesh Tone. Afterwards, some Kislev Flesh on the very raised areas, as you can see here, the cheekbones, the chin, the knuckles, to create some nice lighting effect. The feather on the hat, I used contrast paint, Nasdaq Yellow. You can use any color you like. I like this kind of brownish yellow. There's a slight part of hair showing beneath the hat, and I used some Storm Vermin fur to create her gray hair, which I then highlighted with some gray cere. I just added some small strains of hair, as there's very little detail on the hair. So you get some differentiation and the look of individual hairs. On her chest there's a chain, a medal. I used some lead belcher. And that's it for the model. We're going for the base, which I painted in Steel Legion drab, as I usually do with my Harry Potter models. It looks like the castle floor, at least I think so. I shaded it with some Agrax Earth Shade to create those nice shades and take care of the edges, the cracks. And after that, make sure to let this dry. I used some Ricard Flash to create some edgy look. And I even used a dry brush afterwards to stipple some details on the tiles. I mean, you can make this however you like. And that's it for Minerva McGonagall. It wasn't a very difficult paint, but I'm really loving the end result. And well, also for this, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please leave your comments below, and I hope to see you in one of my next videos. Thank you, bye bye!